far as building a practice, and I got into Access Consciousness in 2013. And how I even began in the healing profession was basically my life sucked. I have struggled with eating disorders a whole lot in my life. I had years and years of struggling with depression, suicide attempts, and acne that just would not go away. And you put all those things together, and I had confidence that amounted to about as much as a tiny anthill. Like, there just wasn't much. And I got into the healing professions trying to figure out how to help other people, always still looking for what was wrong with me. Like, if I could figure out what was wrong with me, I could make my life work. So I'm a high achiever, so that just kept me going. And even at Bastyr, I worked with shamanic healers, chiropractors, acupuncturists, and things like that. And I would get little bits of pieces of information and get a little bit farther and a little bit farther, but it was when I got into Access Consciousness and the life coaching piece that I experienced the most change in the shortest amount of time, to where now I can confidently say, I don't have an eating disorder. There will be times I'll look in the mirror and be like, really, we're dealing with this again? But I'm not worried about how much I eat, how much she ate, how much I can put on my plate, what I gotta do to get rid of what I ate. Like, I have more mental space in my life. I don't struggle with depression. It doesn't mean I don't have bad days, but I know that I'm stronger than resorting to my back door of being like, I'm checking out of this life. Like, that's just it, you know? Like, I have the confidence in me to be like, I can face whatever's coming my way. And I'm not gonna worry about and get depressed over things that I can't control. And the Access Consciousness piece, I was so enthusiastic about it. I had my first class in February, and by May I was a bars facilitator, so I can now teach the bars, and I'm working toward my certified facilitation as we speak. So I'm taking everything that I've learned and putting it into Reveal Your Inner Superhero, my integrative coaching practice, and this is what I'm offering people, because I have experienced so much change in my life. I've made so many mistakes in my life that if somebody could just learn from some of the stupid things that I did, it will take years away from sorting through your own stuff and wading through the mud and things like that. So, what do you guys know about superheroes?
They're special.
They're special?
They wear a cape.
They wear a cape?
And a mask.
And a mask, okay.
Moms are superheroes.
Strong, what?
Moms are superheroes.
Moms are superheroes?
They are. They can do the impossible.
They can do the impossible. So superheroes have superpowers. They do have unique fashion sense. Generally, capes, masks, and affinity for Lycra, that sort of thing. They often don't feel like they fit in and have like a sort of split personality, like your normal kind of nerdy person. If you think Peter Parker, who becomes Spider-Man, Clark Kent, Selena Kyle, who becomes Catwoman, like their superhero self is actually the cooler self, you know? And also superheroes all have a fatal flaw. This is just part of what it takes to be a superhero. There's kryptonite. Everybody knows Superman's kryptonite. Green Lantern's is the color yellow. If he sees the color yellow, that's just it. The Incredible Hulk's is his uncontrollable anger. And so fatal flaw is kind of built into being a superhero. But if you will notice, a money problem has never been named as a fatal flaw, nor is not getting the husband to put down the toilet seat or take out the trash a reason why they cannot save the world. So things that you might think that is my fatal flaw might not quite be your fatal flaw. The other thing about superheroes is they can't get rid of their superpower. Even if they don't really like it, which I haven't heard a lot, or when they are struggling with it, they can't get rid of it. So how do you know if you are a superhero?
We're a superhero because we made it here.
Yes. If you are here, I have a feeling you're a superhero, honestly. If you have any of the above, maybe by virtue of loving to wear spandex, and maybe you're all wearing spandex underneath, you could be a superhero. I love wearing spandex. Superheroes often have sort of this underlying feeling of not fitting in, like feeling misunderstood. Nobody gets me. I just want somebody to get me. And that's partly because they actually see and operate in the world in a way that nobody else does, so that nobody else can get them. So when you become your own superhero, you start recognizing that you are able to see and do things in the world that other people can't, so that you don't need other people to validate it for you. Superheroes are super highly sensitive. This sometimes makes them look hyper-emotional. Maybe you get tired when you're in groups and you just don't know why. It's because you're actually picking up so much sensory information that it actually sort of wears you out or just makes you a little bit crazy. Superheroes learn things really quickly a lot of times. And so has anybody been labeled as being impatient? Because you got it already. If you keep telling yourself you're not a superhero and everybody's getting it the same, you just look like an impatient asshole because you think that everybody's gotten what you got, but you got it faster than everybody else got it because you're a superhero. Superheroes, because of the same reason, tend to get bored easily. And what is the #1 way to get rid of boredom? Drama. Drama is a boredom buster par excellence. If you have nothing else to do, you will tell your husband, I cannot believe that you didn't put the toilet seat down. Everyone knows if you really love me, and I've asked for this 1,800 times, that you would do this. I cannot believe my sister did that. She asked me for that. She had the gall to ask me for that. But hey, I'm not bored, okay? This happens to me in long road trips. If I don't have a book or a craft, I will pick a fight with my husband. Not like I'm really, what can I do? I'll pick a fight. It doesn't happen that clearly, but it really happens because I'm so bored. If you're a superhero, I have a feeling that you, somewhere deep down inside, know that you can change the world, and you want to. And you know that something else is possible, but you just don't know how. And that's kind of what brought you here. But the big question is, so what? Why would you even want to be a superhero? Does anybody want to be a superhero? I think if you're a superhero, you can do some really cool shit. Fly, jump off buildings, save babies, look, kick ass in your Spanx, you know, in public. That's pretty awesome. If you're a superhero, you can walk in any room and you just own it. You're walking tall with your big steps, owning the ground that you are planting your feet on, and you don't worry about what she's wearing compared to what I'm wearing. You don't care what's on her plate compared to what's on my plate. You just know, I got this. Nobody's got anything on me. Confidence then is a drama killer. You've got no need for drama if you've got confidence, because all the little bullshit that we let get in our lives and make it super significant, it's not there because we trust ourselves. We don't have to be like, oh my God, babe, do these boots just match his dress? I don't know. And how many of your boyfriends or husbands would really actually like to not have to pick out your clothes for you, or spend a half hour just assuring you that you look beautiful enough to step out of the house, okay? Or to console you if you know, like, my mascara was smudged the entire time. You didn't tell me, but it won't ruin your life. Like, confidence is just a drama killer. You also get more energy. If you're a superhero, you get more energy. Now, Jen can tell you some things that you could eat that might help you get more energy, but you know why a big reason that superheroes can just take off and lift a big boulder or just like kick somebody like 8 football fields down? They don't spend their energy on bullshit. They're actually not wasting their mental, emotional, or physical energy mind like bending themselves. I mean, just worrying about what everybody else is thinking. Nobody, I've never seen a superhero in all of the movies look in front of a mirror and be like, do I look okay? Like, can I do this? Like, adjust my boots here. Like, I've never seen that. I've never seen anybody be like, what is my mother going to think if I just kill this person? Like, they're about to tell me, well, what is my mother going to think? She's going to think I'm really bad. Or, I'm going to get arrested for just destroying this government property. Or just go like, what can I do? They just don't. So they are spending their energy, they know what's required, they know what they can do, and they just do it. Boom. Done. There's so much energy left to just keep creating your life. So I think that those are actually really good reasons to be a superhero, because you're going to look awesome, you're going to have more energy, and you're not going to be caught up in everybody else's drama, so your life is just going to be a lot easier. So, if you are even remotely curious in getting this in your life, how do you even do this? What do? What do you need to become a superhero? And you can start there. You can start with a wardrobe if you want to get that lined up first. Go right ahead. That's awesome. You need spandex. I should write that down. If everybody has a pen, write down. You need spandex. You have
I think we need to have a superhero night, and we all need to come dressed.
We totally should. This is going to be so fun. I'm trying to think of number one, you need you. If you're going to be a superhero, you've got to show up. You just got to choose it and say, hey, I don't know what this means. I don't really know what it's going to look like in my life, but I'm really tired of being trapped in the jail of my mind, of being so worried about what everybody else is thinking about me, to be so caught up in all the little details that I'm actually not creating the life and the big picture things that I want to have in my life. And so you just say, hey, I'm choosing this. And if that alone is actually the only requirement that you have to be a superhero, just be like, I'm choosing me. Now, sometimes it's like, okay, and then what? I have chosen to be a superhero. Okay. So that's where I come in. So I am, whether or not they put it on the business cards, I'm a badass. And what that means to me is I am willing every day to step into me more and more. To look at this reality and say, that works for me, that doesn't work for me, I'm not doing that anymore. To every day look at my doubts, at my insecurities, and say, I see you standing there, but I'm not going to let you win. You have to take a number, and number one is me, and that is taken. So you'll have to be at least number two. I'm willing to look like an idiot, okay? Like, if you're not willing to do something stupid, nothing great is ever going to happen to you, okay? My husband thinks I am a dumb blonde when it comes to money, but I absolutely refuse to be like, well, this and this and this makes sense. And I was like, this doesn't make sense to me. So I'm willing to risk his judgment of being like, oh, that's my wife, she's special, you know? And that's okay, you know? And it didn't used to be. It used to be a huge fight. Why can't you see what I'm seeing? Why can't you see what I'm seeing? But it's just like, you know what? You can think me a fool, and that's okay, but that's what I gotta do to stay true to me. And today, I was even wrestling with insecurity. I've met so many amazing people just since moving to Idaho, and then all of a sudden, all these, is this person mad at me? Do they really like me? I don't know. And I'm like, whose is this? Like, where is this coming from? I don't know. And it came to be like, okay, Joylyn, we have meditated. We have done some superhero training. I see you there, insecurity. I see you. If I need you, I know where to find you, but I'm just going to fake it till I make it and be like, hey, if I was being my superhero self, what would I choose different? I would actually do what my dog does. You don't want to play with me? Really? Okay. I'll find somebody else to play with. You know, and it's just not a big deal. I just move on. The other thing about me is I am a superhero. The sparkler, which I don't get to wear all that many sparkles here, but that's the one that I've chosen for myself. So you all get to choose your own superhero name. And one of my superpowers is being able to see other people's superpowers. This is part of why I love life coaching. I seem to be able to see things that people are innately good at, where their genius is, sometimes when they can't see it themselves. And I love when it starts to shine through and they really start using their superpowers in their life. The other thing is my approach is really, really different. When you step into my office, we're going to work on you, but I am not going to convince you that you're a superhero. If you don't want to be a superhero, you don't have to be a superhero, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not going to stand there and like your friends, which this is exactly what friends are supposed to do, but life coaches aren't. Oh no, but you're so pretty. Oh, but you're so powerful. Oh, but you're a superhero. You really can't see it all. It's so cute. No. What we're going to do is be like, okay, I see a superhero, and I am so convinced that you're a superhero and that you are this amazingly radiant being that you, A, will not be able to convince me that you're a pathetic damsel in distress. If you want to get yourself hog-tied to a railroad track, like, that's your choice, and I'll be like, hey, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it well. I got some people who can really make your makeup look good, so you will be a showstopper there, okay? And that's your choice. But we're going to chisel away at all the brick and mortar that you have built, the walls that are hiding you from yourself, from you seeing the superhero that's inside, to where once it gets to a certain point, you can't even lie to yourself about how shitty you are or how you feel. You'll just be like, I can't even use that as an excuse anymore. I've got no reason to not be amazing because I see it now. And that's how I work that way. And rebuilding your trust in you. Because throughout our childhood, I say, hey, if you've made it out of childhood, you have done a miracle. So we're all walking miracles here. I made it through my mom and dad, and I'm trying to undo everything they did. But if we made it through childhood, but a lot of what's happened in our training in this reality is to destroy our trust in us. to get us to doubt ourselves. And so when you start rebuilding your confidence and trusting yourself, you can't go wrong, because you will know how that whatever I choose to wear to this party, that's what my body wants to wear. That's what I'm going to feel confident in. I know everybody else is wearing evening gowns, but I'm just rocking this jeans and big boots, and and who's going to be the showstopper? You, because you're confident and you just know. Like, I know it doesn't even make any sense, because this says if I take this job and if I get this license and this degree, then I can do this and make this much money, but this is really where I want to be. And I know it's only a certification program, and technically I can't ever make a lot of money, but do you know how many billionaire entrepreneurs don't have college degrees? Because they just knew what they did, and they trusted themselves, and they did it. And that's possible for all of us too. So then there's the superhero training. That's part of this class, is something that I can do with groups to really kind of introduce people into the idea that you are a superhero. Because there's a lot of people who are like, superhero, yeah, I don't know if I am. Like, hey, I don't like spandex. Okay, I just don't like it, so I just can't be it. Like, we can work around this. Okay, capes are okay. Nakedness, the Hulk, I don't think he wears anything at all. I mean, there's options here. But so the superhero training, tools, explanations, insights, just different ways of looking at points of views, so that you can break the problem habit. Basically, we kind of all have a habit of having a problem, having something to work with that keeps us distracted from actually doing what we really want to do. So there's ways to break out of that habit and kind of get in touch with your awesomeness. Part of the process is being uncomfortable. There's a lot of things about ourselves that we've judged as being bad, ugly, wrong, and we just don't want to look at them. And the longer we don't look at them, it's just like, yeah, let's just keep it like a skeleton in the closet. It's fine. Some parts will be uncomfortable. And one of the things that is most uncomfortable is when you're a leader, there is not a person who can tell you if you're doing it right, because you're the first person to do it. But if you get somebody who's done something similar, who's willing to look like an idiot, who's willing to just be like, yeah, I know it doesn't make any sense, but when I did this thing, it didn't make any sense, it looked really good. Or to just maybe be like, hey, here's a different way of looking, of framing your failure, quote unquote, or whatever. It makes it easier. So that's why life coaching can be so beneficial, because it just helps you navigate or have some confidence and keep rebuilding the trust in you that you know what you're doing for you in your life. And sometimes it is insanely fun. There's some of the techniques that I do, and we'll do a tiny little taster of the bars. It's just super relaxing, so that's just feeling like you're getting pampered. And there are some times where when you step back and take a look at the choices that you're making about how you're making yourself feel stupid and look stupid, it's ridiculous. And you can't do anything but laugh at it. And that's one of the gifts that I have sometimes, is sharing some of my stories and be like, hey, you know how I proved how I was right about this? I did it again there, and I did it again there, and I did it again there. Like, because even though now I recognize that, yeah, if I'm super bored, I'm going to pick a fight. Guess what I did last night when I got bored? I can't believe you didn't see this, because my husband was in town. And she told me to do it, and I was like, right, I'm doing it again. Ha ha ha, aren't I so cute? So sometimes it's really fun. So, with that, here's if you all want to see it. Because I'm a superhero, and I see superheroes in all of you, I just found out I'm awesome, and you guys might want to get tested too. So, sometimes you just got to start wherever you are and take a little bite off more than you can chew. But we're just going to do a bite-sized morsel since it's lunchtime and do a little taster. So I did some superhero training mini pieces. I did a mental, emotional, and a physical. So which one would you guys like to start with?
Mental.
Mental? Okay, so as far as mental goes, sometimes this is just explanation and education, just getting you to see things a little bit different. So with this one, I'm going to go a little bit more into the fatal flaw. Fatal flaw is built into being a superhero. What happens is the things that we think are fatal flaws, like, oh, I can't tell left from right, which I can't. That's my fatal flaw. Or, oh, I always pick the wrong men. Yeah, that's my fatal flaw. It's not these things. It's never money, it's never men, it's not those things. The flaw that I see all of us having is not acknowledging our superpower. When I told you I had a superpower, being able to see other people's superpowers, I didn't acknowledge it for a really long time. And what I did is I used it against me. If you don't acknowledge it, you can't turn it off. You use it against you because it's got to have something to do. I just saw everybody else as being super awesome and me not. Because I could see what was great about everybody else, assuming that everybody else could see that was great about them, not being able to change their mind, and then not being able to see my own because I didn't acknowledge it was a superpower. And then the other thing is, we don't even need supervillains, okay? We don't even need some like crotchety old guy behind a computer screen trying to like blow up the universe or anything, because this reality has done a number on us in what they got us to not only get us to not acknowledge it, they got us to believe that it didn't exist. If we believe our superpower doesn't exist, we don't acknowledge we have it, we use it against ourselves, and believe that it's not there, so we can't be using it against ourselves, so we are completely ineffective. Because we just keep chasing our tail looking for what's wrong with us. There's nothing super about me, and I don't have any superpowers, but all the while they're being used against me to make me ineffective. That is brilliance. And you can see sometimes how parents will do this to keep their kids in line. You know, shut up, you don't know what I'm talking about. Like, you know, when sometimes you're like, God, I wish I could say that. You know, just be that frank about it. And people have, because sometimes people don't want you to show your superpower because they're jealous of it. They don't want to see it. They don't know how to control it. And so they get you to believe that you don't have it or you can't control it and it's bad, it's just going to hurt people. And so we bought it. We're using it against us. So through life coaching and the superhero training, you start to see like, oh my God, that's actually a superpower that I have. Because you know what superpower I have? And it was one of these things where I was just like, I wanted to be a super athlete. You know, I wanted to be like breaking the minute mile, sort of stupid stuff like that, because that's what people can see and that's what you can prove. I'm a superhero. I am amazing at pulling a room together. Say I have these 2 pieces of furniture and this. What can you do with it, Sterling? Oh. And wow, this room looks amazing. I also am good with groups of people being like, hey, have you talked to so-and-so? Okay, oh, you know, I'm doing this and we should just include this, which sometimes people get mad because they're like, Julian, I thought it was just going to be you and me. Oh, I didn't clarify that because I thought the more the merrier. So I just invited everybody, like, but I didn't think that was a superpower at all. And so sometimes there are things where it's like, yeah, that's not a superpower, but it is. It's not something that everybody can do. So recognizing those just gets you to start seeing like, holy shit, I got something, you know? And just moving from there, you get more and more of that. So physical or emotional? Emotional? All right, so when you start breaking into your superhero self, you have to be willing, or start to be willing, to look like an idiot. You know, like Dr. Seuss even says, why are you trying to fit in when you're born to stand out? But standing out is really, really uncomfortable. It's something that we're not trained to do. Social cues and norms are so, so powerful and strong. So sometimes just in the practice, isn't the one I would necessarily do in individual practice, but other ways, don't worry about it. Yeah, if you're being loud. Go for it. Is because we're going to look at silence. Starting now. So I think that was about 20 seconds. We are so trained to be there for other people, to silence is kind of space, kind of the same thing. They get to be uncomfortable, especially when you're sharing it with a group of people. We always want to keep making ourselves comfortable and avoiding standing out, and it feels weird. And sometimes you just have to start being like, feeling weird is not going to be the end of my life. Because it's going to feel weird when you do something drastically different. Like, I think the first time that I noticed, I can't even remember, it's probably a fight with my mother or something like this, where I would normally just be trying to fight tooth and nail for, you don't understand, you gotta see this, and I just recognized, I don't think she's gonna see it, and I did nothing. I was like, surely there's supposed to be something I'm supposed to do right now. I'm supposed to say something, or do something, like yell at her, like, but I knew it wouldn't do anything. And so just doing something different is going to feel really uncomfortable at first, especially if sometimes your husband doesn't put the toilet seat down and you have asked a million times and you just like, oh, and you just put it down and that's the end. You don't go find him, you're just like, hey, that was a much easier fix than going and dragging him by the ear to make him put it down, to show him that he does know how to put it down, and that's what I would like. You're just like, obviously I'm just going to take matters in my own hands. Boom, done. And then you're like, this is a little bit weird. But you just get kind of used to things being a little bit weird and knowing that even those small things like tend to make a big difference. And then for the physical, if you guys all want to stand up, maybe this is a good way to kind of end and get you ready to move back into your office. But there's two, like posture movement, we'll just do a quick one. With the exception of the Incredible Hulk or the Thing, superheroes tend to have really good posture. And when you're standing tall and confident, you're feeling more confident on the inside. So this can be super easy. What I tend to do is just bring your hands up over your head and then just let them fall gently to your side. And it feels kind of like your vertebrae up through your head is just kind of on a string. You're just super tall. Your feet are just slightly apart. You're very grounded and centered. If you turn to the person next to you and try to push them over, it would not be that easy because they're very solid. Confident people stand confidently, they look confidently. How many times have you been looking at the appetizer tray or the plate of cookies at the party and you kind of stand like this? Who's in the power stance? Who are the cookies? If you actually just stand like this and be like, what do I think about you? Do I want you or I don't want you? So that it's totally your choice. You'll be like, I'm going to own you. You're going to be in my belly. You're going to fuel my superpowers. Or, Cookie, you have no power over me. You look stale. But you have to put yourself in a power stance. So, actually, posture can actually make a big difference. Sitting the same way, like if you're sitting at a table, this gives your organs the most room, the most physical, like we were made this way, you know? Like when you do this, and you can talk to Jen, I bet she can tell you a lot of that. You put a lot of things out of alignment. And once those things go out of alignment, more things go out of alignment. So if you can just start with simple things like working on your posture, you will have so much more power to create your own life and have your superpowers work for you. The other one is flexibility. Flexibility is part of a well-rounded strength training program, but it's also, you know, kind of ignored because it's inconvenient, it takes too much time. But flexibility in the body, flexibility in the mind. If you are able to, like, who has the power in the situation? The person who can take with it and run. The person who's adaptable. The person who is rigid and staunch is the one who has to use the most energy to prove their point. Who has to use the most energy to control everything around them to make it work so that they don't have to be flexible. So there's ways to do this. A lot of it's just with the mind, letting go of points of view. Sometimes, again, just in our body, yoga, whatever. But since we're here and it's the end of lunch, I think we should just start. You can start with your shoulder on. You're all politically correct, but just get some. You can start with your knee and then put a little bit of X into it. Come on, don't be shy. We're all superheroes right now.
We're gonna walk over to see us.
What? But just get the juices flowing. Start moving, start feeling your body, like, I think this is our sheerest standard of flexibility. It's like, you need flexibility, like, we're totally right. So how do you feel now compared to the beginning? Maybe just a wee bit closer to saving the world? Yeah. Little things make a big difference. So, that is sort of the end, just kind of wrapping it up, getting you juices flowing, ready to face the rest of the day. I am available for questions now or anytime through the day. I always do 15 minutes for free, so if you want to be like, hey, this is what I'm up against. Can we work on this, like, for real? Like, can this stuff actually work? And we can totally figure out how. And I am, in all honesty, like, amazed. Like, I do see superheroes at work. Like, I like coming here because of all the amazing people that are here. And I would like to see even more and more. So my cards are out at the front. If you guys want to hand them to all your friends, if you guys have any questions about, okay, that's awesome, how do we market you? Like, we can do more work on keywords and things like that. But now you've had a taste of what a superhero life looks like and how to even begin. So